Starting with this video, we're going to have a playlist for boundaries and limits. And why is that? Well, we're developing it to be kind of old school and make a full circle return to the original idea of it. And the way I'm going to start this is we push limits, not boundaries. And I want you guys to remember that. This is why we had soft limits and hard limits. It was knowing when you hit a person's sweet spot and we're stepping just slightly over it was the soft limit. This is where someone might have read it out, yellowed out, back in the day, safe worded. And yeah, we chased safe words back in the day. And to this date, we still sort of do. We want to test our partner with their permission, of course, through negotiation, consent, and informed about the risks. We're taking them on a journey and they're coming with us. And far too often, too many of you don't realize what we're up to when we're doing this. Because you're in a generation now that didn't do the research, hasn't gone back, read the history. And I'll be honest, I actually forgot the difference between limits and boundaries because I've heard it so many times. The downside to listening to other educators, it kind of clogs your mind sometimes. And I forgot what was taught to me decades ago. And that limits are basically a scale. You're looking for the limit, the edge of the limit, and exactly what you can do, because a lot of people want to push past their limits. This is why a limit's not good, to take things off the table. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a visual aid today that we're going to have here. So this blank piece of paper represents you as a human being. And you're going to start something with another person. So this is where you start. Blank canvas. And then you're going to build something, a circle. That circle is a boundary. Anything inside of this is consented to. And it's informed. Okay? We're going to have informed. Hold on, I'll flip the screen. So now this is informed consent, right? So then for me, we'll put BDSM in there, sadist. These are things that are consented to during play or ongoing, because sometimes we'll bring in blanket consent items. This is what I can do anytime I want to as the Dom. And then my submissive, of course, is the one that's agreeing to what we put under the blanket. I bring the blanket, they bring the things we're allowed. Everything in here, again, negotiated, communicated. So this is our boundaries. Everything outside the boundary. Everything outside of it, no matter what it is. If it has not made it into the boundaries circle, it is a no. So, what's a limit? Well, a limit, we're going to put up here in the corner, we're going to start with something a little simpler. Spanking. Now, as you know, there's an intensity scale, and then there's a scale of the actual, see up here, 2 different scales. We'll go 1 to 5. And this is a way that me and my partner can communicate with each other. Intensity and frequency is basically spanking. So if you just go bang, 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 no one's going to feel it. It's going to numb out, right? So intensity of 5, no one's really probably going to like that for too long. So you're going to use that scale. These are scales. And these scales, which are limits, almost are teaching tools for the both of you. You're going to negotiate, and it's one of those things that are going to help you. So when someone says, okay, my hard limit is like 20 spanks in a row, you now have created a limit. Now your partner, who is a masochist, might be like, well, I want to be able to absorb more. I want to feel more. I want to see how I can push my body. And this is where we get where limits are good and not calling them boundaries. Because again, boundaries, this is what's inside the boundary. This is what is safe. Outside the boundaries, no good business. Because it's no, 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 no. So our limits on spanking become that. Limits are customizable and they move. And even in play can actually be pushed with consent. While boundaries, anything outside the boundary is not allowed to be renegotiated. Your boundary, this is your consent zone. Inside the boundary is the consent zone. So that's the basic idea here. Now there's one last part I want. And I'm going to do a horrible job at this. And I create comics. I know it's a horrible job. So don't come at me. So have this. We're gonna make, okay, so this is a cage right here. See that? See that horrible thing? That's a cage, and that center part's supposed to be a door. So that's a locked door to the cage. So refer to this a caged item or a locked item that is consented to, potentially under the right conditions. So the key always stays with the submissive. The submissive is always the one deciding when that part that gets unlocked or uncaged. So we have caged items that are locked away for specific moments. And the reason this goes along with limits, by the way, is that you might have a particular toy that requires the right mood, or there's a particular moment where someone may want something or may want to try something. So they've locked it away. So they've consented to doing it in the future, but it's locked away. But it is in the informed consent boundary circle. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask me. I know that you're superly impressed by this diagram that I will now have because it has our outro for most of the programs. So I can explain this at any point at will. So with that said, go out there and build your informed consent circle that has a boundary. And everything in the boundary is informed consent. Everything outside or no's that you don't let in. And now you know.